Live from your trusted local news source, KCRG News starts now.
Good Sunday morning. It is December 28th. I'm First Alert Storm Team Meteorologist Camille Dinka, and I'm joined by...
I'm Connor Woodruff, apparently, and we have a pretty interesting show for you all today. Big weather day, Camille.
Huge weather day. We've been watching this storm over the last really 48 to 72 hours is when we watched this storm kind of develop. We got a lot more ideas of what it could have impact on us. And then we start to watch the system develop even further than we potentially had originally thought. And we decided to go with a first alert day today on that because of just all the implications and impacts it could have on people's day tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, we mentioned it several times during the newscast, but there are so many different, I feel like, components to this particular first alert day. And of course, you're going to go into it. We're going to talk about it in detail, of course, right? But I mean, you have, if you don't like the fog, we got the wind. If you don't like the wind, we got snow. If you don't like the snow, we got rain, you know, and dropping more than 30 degrees apparently too. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted storm with a lot of stuff going on. So let's just start off with what people are seeing. As they walk out the door this morning, or maybe are heading out the door this morning, visibility has been an issue that we've talked about even yesterday too. Watching that visibility though increase. Finally, probably for the first time in the last 48 hours, watching visibility get above a mile across a lot of the TV9 viewing area. We're at 5 miles in Waterloo, 5 in Tama, 6 in Iowa City. And that's as the storm starts to push in, that wind that is coming with this system helps to push that fog out ahead of this storm. And so we're watching visibilities improve fog-wise because of this. So
I feel like it's welcomed.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I feel like a lot of people are very appreciative of being able to see that. But we also continue to watch the National Weather Service pull back the dense fog advisory across the area. They did just go ahead and further extend the area of this fog advisory, which is why that is highlighted. Or they ended up changing some of the wording potentially in it, and that's where the highlight comes from. But they have continued to push this fog advisory further and further to the east as the system pushes in and helps our visibilities become better and better over the next 24 hours. Probably over the next 3 hours. Let me rephrase that. That's going to be very quick that the system pushes out. But first alert day today, and then that continues into tomorrow morning as well, especially for that morning commute. That's where this main concern really comes in. For blowing snow, reduced visibility, looking at whiteout conditions, looking at potential blizzard conditions, as well as flash freeze on roadways, especially those bridges, overpasses, on and off ramps, always what we focus on when it comes to this kind of stuff.
And that's like going into Monday, of course, not only is it the beginning of the work week, but we have folks returning from their holiday vacations. We have folks who may even be driving home now after their flights are getting canceled. We've seen that across the country. Really, I think people just need to be especially careful on the roads tonight, but tomorrow morning with just how busy it's going to be.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing, is the system is going to be impactful for those who are trying to get home, or maybe it's kind of that in-between time of where we were just hit Christmas and we're heading into New Year's now. So how do we balance potentially all that travel that's happening in a lot of the busiest time of the year for travel too? So not the best time to be having a system like this happening, but again, we're in eastern Iowa. So what can we expect when it comes to end of December time and just expecting winter? Looking at satellite and radar right now, we do have a lot of the area covered in rain showers right now. Looking at heavier bands of rain south of I-80. Right now it looks like Iowa City to Washington having that heaviest band. But if you look off into Illinois, something I've been looking at, which has been interesting, is they've been getting severe thunderstorm warnings out of this system. Lots of lightning in it. We didn't end up getting any of the lightning here in eastern Iowa from this system, but if you were potentially really close to the Illinois border or maybe really close to the Missouri border, you were able to hear a few rumbles of thunder out of this system.
The storm really does have everything, doesn't it?
It truly does. It's been so interesting just to be looking at the system and forecasting it. What a blast it truly has been. But satellite and radar is also starting to show areas of snow pushing in. That snow is what's converted from rain and into now snow as temperatures start to significantly fall with this. We're looking at that area where there is snow falling below freezing, which is 32 degrees. And that's not even where we're just going to stop. We'll watch temperatures through the rest of the day fall down to the teens and single digits by tonight. So a much colder drop off as we continue through the day. Like Connor had said, looking at 30 degrees or more of a difference in temperature from where we were at this morning to where we're heading tonight.
And I think how quickly, I mean, when it comes to something like this, I mean, how quickly does that freeze? You know, I mean, on the roads with the rain and the snow. I mean, is that going to be almost immediately, or is that?
It depends on how well they're treated. Road crews are out, and we'll take a look at where they currently are at here in a bit. But just really keeping an eye on that. And yes, it could be quick in some areas if those roads aren't treated. But I think the benefit of this is we're continuing to get more precipitation, on top of all this. So when there's movement in water, that doesn't allow it to freeze very quickly. So that does help this situation. We did talk a little bit really quickly about the fact crews are out, road conditions. Here in eastern Iowa, not looking too bad. The only issue that we are seeing is in Franklin County, off towards the very far northwestern parts of the TV9 viewing area, looking at completely covered roads. But that's because they're starting to see that heavier and heavier snow that we now here in eastern Iowa will be getting within the next probably 3 to 4 hours. Currently only just seeing rain out of the system, so we'll watch our roads go from this green. Likely most of us will be seeing some blue at some point today. Potentially some of us could see that pink or purple. I mean, even potentially as we look ahead towards tonight, impassable roads with blizzard-like conditions are possible. All this to be said is the system continues to push into the area, and we continue to watch our other factors of the system continue to just further and further enhance how the storm could be affecting us. Plows are out across western and central Iowa. Each of those little dots is a different plow out there, so well, if you want the most updated information on road conditions, you can always go to KCRG.com/road conditions. We also have it on the 511 page is open, and you can look at plow cameras that they have up there too. So that's sometimes really interesting to see what they're seeing out their out of their view as they continue to look at these roads. If you're trying to head out or thinking about heading out at this point, but they're out there applying salt brine as temperatures continue to fall. So it's just really important that they're getting out there and trying to treat those roads as fast as they can. But with that still being said, it's actively snowing, actively falling. So how much will they be able to treat before roads start to freeze or get slick spots is really going to be key in this situation.
Just to give a shout out, you know, it's Sunday. It's the Sunday after you know, Christmas. We got New Year's Eve coming up. People are busy. People have things going on, and yet it looks like we have dozens of different plow drivers out there working on getting those roads treated and prepared as ready as they can be for what's coming.
Exactly. I mean, we appreciate all of the crews who are out there and getting out there. Likely we will continue to watch those plow numbers go up through the day. They will likely be working 24, 48-hour shifts now after the system because of all the implications that this is going to have on our roadways, and they might not be able to get out there right away and clear roads, so they're going to have to go in afterwards and treat these roads and clear them too.
Sure.
But let's just see where we're heading now with this system. Taking a look at Pinpoint Futurecast, we watch as that rain pushes off towards the east and snow follows in behind it. We'll see scattered snow showers across the viewing area through early afternoon, and then we watch it move towards the north. But that doesn't stick around for long. We do see the north getting a lot of that heavier snow as they will continue to just receive more and more snow, not really ever getting a break. While it does look like potentially central and southern parts of Iowa get a little bit of a break between this system. That's before we head into the overnight hours where we see that system push to the south and then push off towards the east before it completely moves out of the TV9 viewing area. So getting to see that system, heavier snowfalls to the north because they're going to be seeing it for longer across the area, and they just get that repeated amount of snow. So looking at potentially 4 to 6 across areas in Prairie du Chien, north of Fayette, Charles City, Decorah areas. We'll be getting that heavier band of snow for longer periods of time. Waterloo and Dubuque looking between 2 to 4 inches, but if you're south of Highway 20, it looks to be that kind of cutoff area where we could be seeing that trace to 2 inches of snow in this system. I also want to bring in the caveat of winds are going to be a huge factor into this. So we could see 2 to 4 inches of snow falling, but how much of that actually lands in one spot is going to be really, really key, because winds are going to be blowing it around. We get wind gusts overnight picking up to almost 50 miles per hour, especially into the really early morning hours of Monday, when we see potentially that peak gust speed. And then that we continue to just see those winds be on the gustier side through early Monday morning. Really, really going to be impactful, especially in these areas that are getting accumulating snowfall, especially towards the north areas. And that's why the National Weather Service has issued a variety of different weather alerts. A blizzard warning is in effect for Winneshiek, Fayette, Chickasaw, Bremer, and Butler counties. That is going to go through tomorrow morning. We also have a winter weather warning for Allamakee County. Areas across our north and into our central zone that are not covered by one of those warnings are underneath a winter weather advisory. Just because you're not in a blizzard warning does not mean that you couldn't see blizzard-like conditions. We will still be seeing falling snow. The snow that falls through the overnight hours will be light and very fluffy, and so you could hit spots where it is whiteout, where you get those blizzard-like conditions, especially in rural areas where there's not buildings or infrastructure, trees, nature to kind of block that. Rural areas likely to see the heaviest impacts of this, especially when it comes to those whiteout conditions.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is something we could be seeing throughout the morning commute tomorrow,
yes,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what's key with this. A lot of the wording in the National Weather Service, especially for this blizzard warning, has been that travel will likely not be advised through tomorrow morning. So if you're planning on hitting the roads tonight, hitting the roads tomorrow morning, they're asking that you try not to, and to try to move that commute time to some time else.
Sure.
Obviously, we totally understand that there's people who are essential workers, need to get into work. So then if you're heading on the roads and you're one of the people who don't maybe need to be on the roads, then that might be impacting those who do have to get to work. So that's kind of where that comes into play. If you can't avoid getting on the roads, try not to, and try adjusting that travel time to a little bit later in the day, just so that way people who have to get to work will have the least amount of people on the roadways and that least impact on them. But if you do hit the roadways, add plenty of extra time into your commute. Try to stick to areas that are heavily nature. There's a lot of trees, a lot of buildings, where you see plows out, looking at the 511 before you hit the road, just to see potentially what road conditions are like as you're trying to get into work tomorrow.
Well, also, I mean, just generally, we talk about this so much here because weather's just a big deal in eastern Iowa, you know. Give yourself, if you do have to hit those roads, give yourself plenty of following distance between you and the car in front of you. Watch your speeds. Ultimately, I mean, you know, it's just the most important thing I feel when you're driving is to watch your speeds, because when you have conditions like this, if you have to come to a sudden stop, or if you have to perhaps even move out of the way if someone's slowing down or if they've lost control of their vehicle, you know, you need to keep distance between you and the other vehicles, and the plows as well as they're doing their work.
Exactly. If you see those flashing lights, get out of their way. They are out there trying to clear the road so that way you can travel safely. So give them the space, give them the distance to be able to do their jobs safely. And so, yeah, we got that plenty of winter weather alerts out there. Any areas really highlighted here are looking at potentially getting accumulating snow, which does mean that blizzard-like conditions or whiteout conditions are possible. Best chances are obviously in that area that is highlighted by a blizzard warning by the National Weather Service there. Areas that are not highlighted by a winter weather advisory or do not have the wording of wind in them, which is a little confusing when it comes to the National Weather Service issuing this, but just to kind of understand what the National Weather Service is doing with this, they decided to put a wind advisory out across southern parts of Iowa and into central parts of Iowa, into areas in their advisory that did not have wind in their descriptions. Just means that they could see wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Areas across southern Iowa, even though they're not going to be experiencing potentially snow, they will get a little bit of snow, just not as much like accumulating snow as potentially further north. they'll still get those windy conditions that will be affecting those who have higher profile vehicles out on the roadways.
I'm always surprised when you feel that too, like
Right.
you leave and it's, I don't know. When I was growing up, and I'm from West Virginia, I've got lots of hills, lots of trees, so I never really, very rarely would I feel the wind tug away at the vehicle. But that can be dangerous as well in its own right.
Exactly. You want 2 hands on the steering wheel at all times, making sure that your phone is down and not in your hands, being as attentive drivers as you can be, all the safe things that we talk about all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But looking at temperatures, we're looking at that drop. We're looking at 40s now, heading into 30s, heading into 20s, then the teens and single digits as we continue through the overnight hours and into the start of your Monday morning. Really going to be a very, very cold start to Iowa's week and the end of really 2025 too. We look at temperatures even through the rest of the week still staying right around that normal for this time of year, which is in the upper 20s and low 30s.
Look at that increase at 5 a.m. though. We'll go up 2 degrees. We'll be sweating then.
I'm sure. Yes, that will be it. But highly recommend that you are just keeping this in mind. Temperatures will create slick spots as there is enough precipitation on the ground, enough moisture on the ground that temperatures far below zero like this, far below zero, far below freezing will create those slick spots, which our crews are going to be out and trying to treat. But that's what we're looking at for this system. We also have TV9 crews out in Tampa, specifically our sports director, Chelsea Brown, is out in Tampa. She is covering the ReliaQuest Bowl because Iowa football is in the ReliaQuest Bowl this year.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
So maybe if you're not so excited about the colder winter temperatures that we are getting here in Iowa, you can be a little bit jealous of the people who are maybe down in Tampa right now. It's obviously, keep in mind too, people are likely traveling today and trying to get the airports to get to this game. So check in with those airports and those airline delays. We have seen multiple delays at the Eastern Iowa airport and even across a lot of the Midwest, seeing some delays this morning. But 60s each of the days, the day before, the day of, and then looking at potentially some sunny skies and upper 60s by Thursday.
But
so
to put into perspective, there's something, and this is a slight tangent, I apologize, but we've had I feel like, as someone who's not a trained meteorologist, we've had a pretty strange December, all things considered. We've had those several really significant snowstorms almost back-to-back over the weekends. And then I remember there was a point last week where we were almost flirting with record-breaking temperatures on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve in particular.
Yes.
So when you look at 60 degrees here in Florida, just a few days ago, we were only 10 or 15 degrees shy of that, which I just think is so interesting.
And that is super true. I mean, it's just an interesting way that we have been experiencing, and I just feel like it's Eastern Iowa, so we can expect normal, but then also Eastern Iowa likes to throw a little bit of fun into it and enjoy the weather when it comes to it. But the New Year's forecast is also out. This is going to be going on at the same time that the ReliaQuest Bowl is, so you want to compare temperatures to where we're at during that same period of time. We'll be in the 30s on Wednesday before we drop to the upper teens, low 20s for your New Year's Day forecast. Before we're back towards the 20s, mid-20s for Friday. That will be the 2nd of January of 2026.
Oh, man.
How crazy is that we're heading into the new year?
I remember, I believe my earliest, New Year's memory was, I had to have been, I was young. It was going to 2007, New Year's Eve going into 2007. I remember watching Cartoon Network, of all things, that night with my grandmother. And, man, time flies, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a cold one, looking at a disturbance potentially on New Year's Eve. You'll want to keep in check with your First Alert Storm team. We'll always have the updates to that system as we learn more. But after we get through today, we'll be heading on and into that system and looking at that. But as a reminder, if you can avoid travel tonight, try to avoid that.
Yeah.
Plenty of alerts out there. Latest forecast on the KCRG weather app, always free to download there. On the KCRG.com/weather, you can always get all the latest updates there, or you can always check our Facebook pages too. We are active there throughout the day too, to answer questions if people have them. Or as you get in any of those weather photos, you can always send those in to kcrg.com/unews. We do really appreciate seeing all those photos. That really helps us be able to see what's going on across the area. And we could even be featured on one of our newscasts.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
I love to be on one eventually.
Yeah, we'll get one up there, yes. But we're going to be heading off now. If you would like to, again, just watch any of the latest forecasts, we'll have that there. Or you can join Justin Roberts tomorrow morning for the most recent look at what conditions will be during the KCRG morning news. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Excellent. You all have a good one.